It is the Chibi KBT packing all the bullets, but not quite the accuracy. It is KBT07 Kabuto Benimaru, with a kit of fire, double Gatling, biped legs, and the leg ability of through shot, which chances for a shooting attack to ignore defense when attacking. Now, much compared to how he was in earlier games, such as his debut in Medarot 4, where he honestly could not hit the broadside of a barn to save his life, and with a success stat of 0, he definitely has taken this time in his absence before debuting fairly recently, roughly about a year or so ago, to practice his aim and hone it just a little bit to where he actually can hit targets pretty consistently now. Fire is a standard melee attack that is also an ailment that when attacking a target will inflict a DOT effect on them for a continuous damage over time and very slowly whittle down its HP to make it easier for other skills across the board to either come up behind him and finish the job, or maybe just make it easy for that one-hit kill once it does get whittled down to 1 HP. Gatling is a standard shooting-based attack that is a scattered AoE, meaning that it will damage one part at normal and then 2 parts at random at 1/3 of your total damage. So honestly, making it quite clear from the start, Kabuto Benimaru's kit is very dominantly scattered AoE based, which makes using him just a little bit tricky if you do choose to use him as a pure set. But the leg ability of Through Shot does kind of tie into that and kind of compensate for it just a little bit. Since Gatling does also have a naturally high crit rate, pile that with Through Shot, since he can bypass shields, he does probably have a much higher chance of landing critical hits than most other standard bots or even KBTs that have Gatling in its kit. But as a pure set score across the board, I honestly would have to rate Kabuto Benimaru a pretty solid 6.5 out of 10. He can get the job done pretty well. His damage coverage is relatively consistent, even with it being a scattered AoE. The naturally high crit rate of a Gatling paired with Through Shot can work pretty well together. And if you pair fire into that with the passive damage over time, it can make for Gatling to even break multiple parts at once if luck is on your side with that particular strike. As mixed parts, on the other hand, however, I would rate him just a little bit higher at a 7 out of 10. Like I said, he does have a very solid leg and a very good leg ability, very good mobility across the board too, for pretty solid stats, which means even though your bot will lose a pretty solid chunk of height in terms of aesthetics, the Through Shot ability will for sure make up for it with skills such as, say, Hyper Beam or Ghost Shot or Laser or even Standard Rifle or Power Rifle. That Through Shot will have a chance to bypass shields and make sure that wherever you're aiming is where your attack is going to land. So across the board, like I said, pretty solid 6.5 out of 10 for his pure set, pretty solid 7 out of 10 for his mixed. One particular trick that he does have is the fact that because he is using a melee skill in his kit as a pure set, it does make balancing his metal just a little bit strange, as you do need to kind of balance it between particularly like a 99 in shooting and a 51 in melee, but that does still work to his advantage since, because it's an ailment attack, Benimaru does not need his fire to land anything lasting, and let the fire and the melting damage over time do that work for him.